Welcome to another episode of the Finding Hope podcast from Rogue Retreat. Podcast hosting service is Anchor.fm. You can hear this podcast on many providers such as Stitcher, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Music courtesy of Jason Shaw. And now we continue with the latest episode of Finding Hope. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Finding Hope podcast, episode number 41. And we are honored to have Shannon, I forgot her last name, but Holland, that's right. I don't know how I could forget that. It just skipped away on me. Anyway, Shannon Holland, and we're going to talk about a myriad of things today. And without any further ado, let's get to Matt Voderstrass to help us start things out.
All right. Well, Shannon, thank you for agreeing to a second take with us over here on the Finding Hope podcast. Last time we talked, the shelter was getting ready to open, and we talked a little bit more about your story at that point. But I kind of wanted to do a follow-up just to kind of talk to you about how things are going over at the shelter. You've been over there managing the kitchen and everything for quite some time now since it opened. And how's everything going with the COVID-19 pandemic and everything up till today?
It's going good. I'm trying to get people in there, people to donate dinners. Right now, well, during the COVID, we weren't letting people come in and help serve because of the risks, but people were still dropping stuff off. Now, as long as they come in with masks and stuff and wear gloves, we do let people in to serve if they wish, but it's their own discretion. Not everybody wants to, because a lot of the folks that donate dinners and meals are elderly and have health risks. So, but other than that, I'm trying to get more dinner donors. It's kind of a struggle. I did just get with the marketing, Chris, the marketing director, or the guy for marketing. I don't know. He did a flyer for us with a great picture on it, and so I'm hoping getting those flyers, I can get them out to local establishments.
Okay. Is there like a particular profile of who often makes a good meal donor? Is it like an individual, a family, or a civic group, or maybe a church group? Are there any particular types of groups that you're trying to get in there?
I have a lot of church groups that do it. I also have some people from the college. I have a group, my AA class. I have that, or my AA group. They do a meal. A lot of I try not to do too many individuals because I want it to be meals from maybe commercial kitchens.
Okay.
So that everybody's covered. No one wants to get in trouble, but so I'd like to have it from commercial kitchens, churches, maybe youth groups, ministries, places like that.
Okay. And so if somebody were to sign up to do be a meal donor, what would that look like?
That would be preparing for 54 people. You would cook it, prepare it at your house or your establishment, and deliver it to us already prepared. Or there's also some people will buy, like, let's say frozen Stouffer lasagnas, and I can reheat things in the oven, or do like hot dogs. Hot dogs are an easy one. We have a barbecue in back. The buying is kind of the big thing because we rely on donations.
Okay.
Now, have you had any response from, I don't want to mention any names because then we could all get in trouble, but right. For the restaurant community and the regular names that people would know, have you had a response from them?
Oh, yes. Oh yes. We get regular donations from Little Caesars.
Oh, good.
We get donations from Chick-fil-A 3 days a week.
Hmm.
Um, those are some, and with these flyers, I'm hoping to be able to go to local restaurants and establishments around town, um, and maybe get them involved. I know there was a couple other ones that were going to be getting involved. I know that Mike McLean from the First Presbyterian Church in Jacksonville, he's involved. So yeah, I'm hoping to get our community more involved with our shelter, because I know they sure do like it.
I have. Is Shannon still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
Oh,
here.
good. I was afraid she was disconnected because it told me her bandwidth was low, and so I said,
Oh.
anyway.
Probably because Charlie could be on the computer. That's probably why.
But anyway, I have an interesting story about Chick-fil-A. As Matt knows, and you might know, I do a radio gig in the Bay Area, so I'm busy. And what was that?
Oh, that's my phone.
Anyway, I was involved in a radio gig, and the person I work with was mentioning about Chick-fil-A coming to Redwood City. Of course, they're widely expanding all over the place.
Right.
And so I happened to mention when we were on the air that they are involved in quite a bit of activities in the community. And I mentioned about what they did with us here. I like to keep it where people don't know that I'm where I am. So I say in the community in which I live. So that makes people think that I'm nearby, when actually I'm right here in Southern Oregon. So
Wow.
so it was fun to let other people know about what Chick-fil-A was doing, because it makes a great promotional thing for them. So who knows, maybe Chick-fil-A will buy some advertising from them.
Ooh.
So you always
Right.
everything that has a self-interest.
I like how you think there, Stan. So Shannon, I mean, that's obviously great to hear that Chick-fil-A and Little Caesars are both are helping donate food and everything. It's my understanding that your job recently grew a little bit with the creation of the temporary urban campground. Are you helping with meals over there too now?
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Which is helping me a lot because I'm kind of running out of room.
Imagine.
Yeah. Well, picking up as much as I do, and yeah. So the temporary campground is great because that's another place. I'll disperse it between the recovery houses and between Hope Village and then now I have another place to put the chicken and the pieces. So yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah,
Very
absolutely. Yeah, yesterday was the day that it first opened, and I got to help
Yes.
deliver ice that Avalanche Ice donated to us down there. And when I got down there was boxes of Little Caesars and a lot of happy people. And
Yes,
so
that was a really wonderful day. The first opening, I was there from 8 to 11,
Oh, wow.
and I got to do my first intakes, and that was really exciting. I'm grateful and humbled to be part of it.
Yes.
So was there an avalanche of ice, Matt?
Yeah.
There definitely was, and it was so hot yesterday. I was very grateful for it.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
So Shannon, when you're talking to people in the community about becoming potential meal donors, what is the message that you give to them about why this is important for people to get involved in?
I like them to know that the reason why it's so important that community gets involved and that dinners get donated is because I want them to see that homeless people are just, our brothers and sisters that are just falling short. Not everybody grew up in a house with a normal family, but we're not I mean, I say we because I was homeless at one point. They're not bad people. They just need a hand up. And plus, the community, having the community come in, they get to see how we run or how our establishment runs. And we have a lot of successes that come through there. And it helps to have food in their belly. And I want them to know that they're doing something really good, and we're not just taking it and, feeding the employees. We're actually taking it and doing good with their food.
No, and that is amazing. And have you seen any kind of emotional reaction from the meal donors in terms of just their hearts opening up as a result of being connected with the shelter that way?
Oh, yes. Last year when we first opened the shelter, there was, before the whole COVID thing, there was a big group that came in and did the Thanksgiving dinner. And oh my goodness, you could feel the hearts opening up and how great on both sides, the guests and the donors were. I mean, the way they interacted, it was just wonderful. I'm hoping this COVID thing will end so we can get back to that.
Yeah,
well,
it's important.
It is.
I think one of the great things, too, is it will probably help dispel some of the preconceived notions that people often have.
Right. Yeah, because not all of them are, all homeless people are out there trying to get something for nothing. They're out there just trying to survive because of a, instance. I remember when I became homeless, me and my husband became homeless because our landlord died and the family kicked us out. Not everybody's out there for drugs and alcohol, sometimes it just happens, their house becomes condemned or whatnot. Mm-hmm. And so I want people in the community to know that not all homeless people are bad.
And it could happen to anyone.
It can. It can happen tomorrow. It could happen to me or you tomorrow. Well,
that's right. And
God willing, it doesn't. But you just never know.
I'll tell you a little story, a statistic that I saw recently. And of course, I'm interested in this because I represent a certain population. I'm totally blind, as both of you know.
Right.
And a quarter of the blind in this country are homeless.
That's sad.
And that's something that people do not know about, either because they don't think of it, or they don't choose to, or they are in denial.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, it is true. I mean, and across the nation too, a lot of people are just one paycheck away from being homeless in many cases. So it's
exactly.
It is a difficult time out there. Shannon, I know that you have shared your story with us before, and that you have experienced homelessness. For a lot of the folks, when you are working with them in the shelter, oftentimes we're kind of encountering them when they're kind of at their bottom and they're kind of at their wits' end with things, and oftentimes they're kind of in a place where they don't feel hope. Do you see a shift in the shelter guests when they see meal donors from the community coming in and showing that they care about their well-being?
Say that again. I couldn't understand what you said. You're muffled a little bit.
It's all right. So when you are working with shelter guests, that oftentimes when they're coming into the Kelly shelter, they're at a place where they're hopeless and they are kind of at their bottom. Do you see kind of a change in them when they see meal donors coming in and they get to see that the community does in fact care about their well-being?
Oh yes, I do see a change. I mean, they appreciate it just as much. There's one young lady in there in particular, and I looked at her when she came in, and she was at the bottom. I mean, she looked just like she was absolutely hopeless, and now she doesn't even look like the same person. And I see it so many times. They realize that the community, not all the community is against them, and the community is not against them. They're just uneducated about a lot of the homeless people, and it's really sad. I wish more and more people could understand, where how people become homeless and how to become involved. I wish more people would be involved instead of having this preconceived notion of how we are, how we're dirty and useless, and are lazy. That was one that always got me, was being late, that we were lazy. I know when I was homeless, there was no time that I could be lazy. I wish.
Yeah. No, it's true. A lot of people don't realize that when you're seeing somebody laying down in the middle of the day, that's oftentimes the only time where they can peacefully and safely be able to lay down and rest.
Right,
and there's
right.
so much time and energy that is spent on just meeting basic needs that by the time that 24-hour cycle is done, you have to repeat and start over again.
Yeah.
And you can't get a job like that. You can't do anything but focus on staying alive. And
Yeah, surviving is hard work. Surviving is very hard work.
Absolutely. And so, Shannon, if people wanted to reach out to you, how would they get in touch with you?
I would, they can call the office at 541-499-0880, and we are extension 4000, and they can just ask for me.
Okay.
Or they can email me at shannon@rogueretreat.com.
Okay.
You might want to slow down a little bit and give that again so digest it. And I'm saying that because in radio, you always have to have these people. They give it a couple of times just so that listeners can, grasp it, because maybe they're doing something while you're saying it.
Oh, right.
So,
Right. Okay. The phone number, 541-499-0880, extension 4000. And you would ask for Shannon, the kitchen manager.
Okay. All right. And then what's your email, Shannon?
It's Shannon at rogueretreat.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
RogueRetreat.com.
And Shannon, if people are out there maybe toying with the idea of being a meal donor, because I know that when you say 54 people, that can be a little bit overwhelming to think about. Is there any types of foods that you notice that meal donors are able to do that make it a little bit less stressful for them, but also feeds the entire shelter?
Oh, yes. It doesn't have to be complicated. Spaghetti. A lot of people will do casserole dishes.
Mm-hmm.
Also soups. But if anyone ever needs to borrow soup pots, I have soup pots that I can loan out. Yeah, any kind of easy stuff. Hot dogs. We've done, let's see, what's another one? Potato bar. Someone did a potato bar yesterday with a whole bunch of different toppings like onions, jalapenos, pulled pork, all sorts of stuff to go on the potato.
Oh, you just made me hungry.
Yeah, I know, right? Nachos is another good one. Yes. So it does not have to be complicated. Or one gentleman buys chicken from Albertsons and pasta salad and potato salad and drops that off. So it doesn't have to be complicated. It can also be you can claim it on your taxes as a donation.
Yes.
Yes. And so and we can also put your name in our newsletter.
Yes, we know some people can put that together.
Yeah. So I think it's all just wonderful. I am so grateful for everyone that has generously donates to our shelter. I absolutely love what I do, and because this is me. I've been there.
What was it you said you loved? Because you just sort of went crazy.
Oh, I probably moved my phone. I love what I do. I love my job.
Oh.
I love how I have come for a full circle, because Rogue Retreat is the one that saved my life, and then I work with Rogue Retreat. So,
well, Rogue Retreat has impacted a lot of us. I mean, I certainly am happy to be able to be associated with what I do there. and it makes a big difference. And I'm jazzed about this, and I realize that I'm not out there doing like what you do, but we're all out there for really the same reason. We're all out there trying to make a difference. And one of the TV stations is going to sue me.
Yeah, no, it is amazing to be able to see things come full circle in many cases. And Shannon, I know that must also be pretty impactful for you, having the involvement that you've had with Rogue Retreat, even the early goings of Hope Village and the startup of the Kelly Shelter, and to now see where everything's growing, and to see a temporary campground, and to just see the services that keep getting brought to the community. And I know for myself, I'm just grateful to be part of an organization that keeps looking for ways to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a lot of need out there, and I love working with a group of people that love to go out and try to help heal people.
Yes.
So Shannon, I got to kind of bring us around to the end of this little show here, but as you know, the show is called Finding Hope. I know that you have experienced what many of the folks we're serving are currently going through. What is the message that you give to people when you encounter them and they are at that place of hopelessness?
I just tell them to keep their head up, do the next right thing, whether it be talking to someone. Sometimes it's hard. I know it's really hard to get out of that hole, but if you can find one person that you trust enough to talk to, sometimes it helps get past the hard times. I hope that I'm maybe that one person sometimes, at the shelter. I have a real good rapport with a lot of the guests that live there, and a lot of them know me from when I was out on the street. And so, I hope that just them seeing how, I have come full circle, I'm hoping that gives them hope.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I know that just based on my own experience, it is always helpful to see somebody who's been in your shoes before, and to see that, and to be able to follow the steps that they took to be able to get out of that.
Right.
So, Shannon, I want to thank you again for doing what you're doing, and for agreeing to be our victim this week.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yes, and Stan, I'll let you take us away.
Okay. Well, as I always like to say, Shannon, thank you for being had.
Thanks, Stan.
But I'll tell you, it's a delight to be able to have you do an encore presentation, because I really love what you do and your enthusiasm. And with that in mind, we'll draw this sterling performance to a close. And this has been episode 41 of the Finding Hope podcast. And remember, you can go to the Finding Hope podcast page on Facebook, or find it wherever you look for podcasts, such as Apple Podcasts and Anchor podcasts as well. That's a wrap for this edition. This is Stan Luttrell, along with Matt Vogelstrauss.
Thanks, Stan. Thanks, Shannon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.